that sometimes when you are shining of the brightly, you are hurting other people's of the eyes who are not ready to be of the seeing, who are thinking this is way too of the brightness. You should not be of the brightness. But they are just going based on their of the darkness, and they are thinking that this is not possible for me, and you should not be shining. And this can also aggravate of the darkness within others, in the shadow self of the others. Because in of the light, the shadow self finds it very hard to be of the existing. So sometimes when you are shining, you are highlighting the shadow side of the others, and the others will not be of the happy with this. So therefore, when you are being of the focus of this, you are just beginning to shine of a little brighter and of the little brighter and of the little brighter. And as you are seeing these either of the internal patterns of resistance or the external patterns of resistance, that you just be focused back in of the sacredness of the moment and just allow your light to shine a little bit of the brightness.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Galactic Guidance with our channel, Marcus Bird. Hey, Marcus.
Hey, Eleni, great to be here.
I love the fact that every single week I get to speak to your beautiful spirit mentor, Ameed,
Yeah,
who
yeah, it's
you
good
channel
fun.
from the Lyra star system, and you've been doing that for
Yeah,
the last 3 decades.
I know.
And
It's been a
so,
while.
whenever you're ready to drop in,
Ready, steady, biscotti. Sounds good. All right, I'll see you on the other side. I get to have a break. It's so good. I get to have a
yeah,
holiday. It's nice. So
yeah, you don't have to worry about what to say.
nothing. Don't have to think about it. Best if I don't, It works best if
Yeah.
I get out of the road. So it's perfect. All right.
So, what Marcus is doing now is basically what he just said, which is getting out of the road. He finished telling me just before this call that he was really tired. He's been doing a lot of work and he gets to relax because the person that will be speaking through him, or rather the energy that will be speaking through him, is Ameed, our beautiful ET from another planet, an advanced planet, and I'm excited to speak to her today.
These are the march of the joyness that we are being here in this of the moment, and as we always being of the same, miscellany, in this of the sacred moment. Just being in the memory of the sacredness of the moment is very much of the specialness. And this is even more important in this of the destabilized time that you are being of the experiencing here on the planet in this moment. Just being with the sacredness of the moment. This is being helping you to be in of the nowness and acknowledging sacredness. When you do this, when you acknowledge of the sacredness, it activates more of the energetic quality of universal space and time. You'll be finding that even of the simplest things that you are being of the doing can be activating of the most profoundness of the energy. This is one of the things that you, as the humans, keep of being of the forgetting. You are have been drawn into the grossness of experience, where you are thinking big things are much more better than the little things. But we are liking to remind you that even of the nothingness of the little things, of just being in of the acknowledgement of the sacredness of any of the moments helps to amplify the moment. And Miss Eleni, like sometimes you have been doing, where you are praying on the food before you are eating of the food. The intention and the focus of the praying on the food helps to activate and amplify the goodness of the food. So this, even this being of the focusedness in the moment is helpful to be of the amplification and the activation of all of the goodness.
Mm. I wasn't going to ask a question about food, but given that you're talking about food, I will ask a question about food. So it's come to me recently that I need to be more devoted. The word devotion keeps coming to me all the time. Devotion, devotion, devotion. And one of the things that has come to me is my relationship with food.
Mm.
And so at the moment, as we speak, I'm on a water diet. water fast, I should say, where I'm only having water. And then whenever I do these things, when I'm in the middle of it, I'm always like, why am I doing it? Why is it really making any difference? And then my plan afterwards is to go on a 1 meal a day sort of diet so that I can be focused on that 1 hour rather than eating food recklessly through the day like I tend to do. So that's just come to me as something I need to do in terms of devotion, like to let go of my attachment to food. But I don't really know whether that is helping my ascension process or not, or whether that's just the ego that's handling that. I really don't know. So, yeah, when I decided to do it, I thought it was coming straight from source. But now that I'm doing it, I'm not so sure. So, given you're talking about food, how about you tell me about what you think?
There is a number of the aspects that you are speaking of that is much of the importance with what it is that you have been of the decision to be of the doing. One of those is the ability to be of the focused nature, to give much of the intention into the actions that you are being of the taking. You are understanding that water is much of the importance, and as you are doing this activity, it is important that you are programming the water to set the energetic construct of that aspect of what you are taking into the body. This is true of all of the aspects of what you are taking into the body, is that and much of the specialty is in the water, because you have the ability to program every aspect of your existence, in particular program of the water, program of the foodness, and give it of the direction that it's going to be applied within of the body, in particular in of the energy body. You're of the confusion, your concerns, your being of the doubting is actually much of part of the journey. This is something that you are being of the moving through, and your decision whether is this of the ego nature or is this of the source nature, is this of the truth nature, is part of the experience. So whether you are actually doing this or not doing this, whether you are actually being of the completing this or not being of the completing this, is not of the intention, it's not of the importance. The importance is of your presenceness in the moment and how you are being of the processing of the thoughts and of the emotions and of the water of itself. And you must be being of the carefulness that you are programming of the water, you are setting of the intention of the water, so that it can assist you to facilitate this transformation that it will be helping you to do. Now, we can be talking of practicalities, and you must be of the remembering that in of the gut space, in of your intestinal space, are the areas that tune into the subtle frequencies of the universal construct. So at one of the levels, you are cleansing this and clearing this and opening up a pathway for you to be more sensitive, more able to pick up the resonant frequencies of the universal construct. Therefore, what you might be of the experiencing when you have completed this of the journey is a deeper of the connection, clarity of the information, being able to be more receptive to the resonant frequency state. The fact that you are moving through various of the thoughtness patterns, variousness of the emotions, is very much part of the journey. What we are always been mentioning is that mostly important is that you be in of the stable state. The only way for you to know how to be in of the stable state is to not be in of the stable state. So as you are being of the thinking of destabilized thoughts, which is, am I doing this as our ego? Am I doing this out of divine calling? Am I being clever with this or not being clever with this? All of these conflicting conversations that you're being of the having are fertile ground for you to be practicing the stable state nature of your existence. Therefore, we are not being here to say this is a good thing to do, Miss Eleni, or not a good thing to do, Miss Eleni, but rather to be of the reflected nature of your participation in of the journey. And therefore, you can make this of the goodness, or you can make this of the not goodness. You can continue on your journey, or you can be stopping off the journey. But we are thinking that if you are being using this to help yourself to be more of the strength within the stable nature, to be moving through many of the emotions and of the thought patterns that are destabilizing you. This could be much of the goodness. And then if you are being remembering of the programming of the water, that the intention is much more of the importance to every aspect of this journey, then you will be taking from this experience all of the energetic nutrition that you need to take from this experience. You can be taking all of the goodness from this experience because as you are being in the realization, this is not just of the physical nature, this is a mental aspect journey, this is an emotional journey, and this is an energetic spiritual journey that you are being engaged within. We are thinking, does this be of the helping, Miss Eleni, to help you with of the stabilization of this experience?
Yes, it's very helpful. You talk about programming of the water.
Mm,
So, is programming of the water, is that just something that we intend for the water? We just intend
mm,
that it's pure and then it does everything it needs to in the body? Like, what are the words?
mm.
How do we program water?
Yeah, this is much of the goodness of the question. And we would be of the suggesting that you are being thinking of the intention. What is my intention on this of the journey? So not necessarily just about, oh, this is of the water and I needing of the water to nourish my body, to give me of the fluids to help my body to be of the functioning, but rather be of the programming of the journey itself. And that journey may be, I want to be of the experiencing, more of the awakening, more of the connection, mm, more of my energetic self, my light self. I wish to be more of that experience. And you can be then programming the water to be of the experience of that. So not just of the practical nature of the physicality, but actually of the expanded dimensional nature of the reality scape. And if you are being of the doing that, if you are being holding of your hands around of the glass or over on the glass and be thinking of that intention, be feeling into that intention. And really what we are wishing for you to be doing is feeling into the most expanded, sometimes you'd be calling the most highest intention. Mm. And again, you are being much of the practical, which is very much of the goodness, but we are wishing for you to be of the expanded nature and be of the realizing that all of the aspects in your existence can assist you with the expanding nature. That is, the water that you're being of the drinking can help you in the expanded nature. The food that you are being of the eating can help you in the expanded nature. Every aspect of your reality is designed to be of the assistance to help you to be in a more of the expanded state. Therefore, if you are utilizing it for this purpose, then you will be getting what you are considering of the most out of the experience.
Thank you for that. That's really helpful. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us today?
Mm. We would much be of the liking to share the being on a similar of the theme, the expanded nature of your experience. One of the things that we see many of the time is that you are being in of the shrinking nature, that you bring things down into mm, a moment in of the time, but not in the way we were talking about at the very start. You are bringing yourself down and shrinking yourself down, and you are thinking that in this moment that the things that are playing out in of your life experience are all the things that are playing out in your life experience. And if you are being in of the pain in this moment, you are thinking the pain is everything in of your life. And if you are in the if you are in of the anguishness, then you are thinking that is everything in your life. And if you are in of the fearness, you are thinking that is everywhere of your life. And we are wishing to share with you that there is a much more expanded reality that is existing in and around and of the through you. And some would be calling this of your lightness, and that you are activating of the light and you are here to shine of the light. And this is much of the truthness, that there is a much more expanded version of your reality, that sometimes you are being in of the missing. And many of the aspects of your experience have been designed to reduce you into this place. But we are thinking the funniness of this is that we were talking in the beforeness about the sacredness of the moment and being of the focusedness of the sacredness of the moment. And in almost a liking of the opposite direction, you are being drawn into the sacredness of the moment. But at the same time, when you are getting into the sacredness of the moment and you are focused on that such, you will instantly be in the most expanded state. This is much of the ironicness, or what you would calling of the ironicness, is when you are focusing in of the nothingness, in of the void. What you will be finding in of the void, once you get past of the fear of the nothingness, is that you will be experiencing the everything. When you are focused on the sacred moment, you're thinking you're focused just on this moment, in this minute, in this of the moment, when actual fact, when you get to that moment, you instantly being of the expanding into every moment. So when you are focused on the sacred moment, you are actually focused on every moment that is in of the existence. But when you are being of the shrinkingness, when you are being in of the fear space, in of the pain space, in of the anguishness of the space, in of the anxiety space, you are not being in of the moment, but it is drawing you in of the moment. When you are in of the anxious and the anxiety and the worry space, you are thinking of everything but not of the sacred moment. But it is trying to help you to be in of the sacred moment. It is much like if you are thinking of the pain is drawing your attention to this of the moment. The anguish is drawing you to this attention here in the moment, and it is trying to be of the assistance to draw you into the sacredness of the moment. Because when you are coming into this space, you will be realizing that in of the moment space is every moment of the space. When you are in of the void, everything is in of the void. And this is what you are calling, or maybe of a conundrum or of the confusingness, because you are saying, Ameed, how can in the nothingness be of the everything? And how can then be of the everything of the nothing? And this is one of the expanded truths of the universal construct. And you are on of the journey, of the expansion journey, to be of the realizing these realities. And you are coming closer to these realities and experiencing more of these realities. And when this is of the happening, you are shining more of your light. And right now, here on the planetary construct, we are wishing for you to be shining more of your light. When you are in this moment, you are really realizing more of the bigness of you. You are really realizing more of the expanded nature of who you truly are. And we are sensing many of the shrinking in this other moment. And we would be of the encouragement that as you being of the shrinking, that you go right into the middle of the shrinking to find your light and be of the ignition and the activation of your light, so that you can be shining out across the planetary construct, because this is what is very much of the needed in this other moment. But this is a much of a conundrum, so feeling of the confusion that you are saying, Ameed, that we should shrink into the nothingness, but then we will be expanding into the everythingness, and that is very much of the confusing. But if we were to assist you in of the simplicity of this reality and of this of the understanding, then in actuality of the facts is all you are needing to do is to activate the light within you. Once you activate the light within you, everything that is around you starts to change to meet that of the light nature. If you are trying to be putting off the light out, if you are trying to dim yourself and turn off the light out because you are wishing to be hiding and disappearing and this is what is happening when you are doing these activities, you are turning off your light. When you are turning off your light, this is not of the helpfulness for you to be of the expanding into the fullness of who you are, but also in the transition of the planetary construct from one of the dimensions to the next of the dimensions. So what we are wishing for you in this other moment is in line with of the sacred nature of the moment, is to step into the moment, to step into the void of the nothingness, to then be just focused on activating of the lightness within. And you do not have to be shining too of the brightly. You can be just shining a little of the brightly. But we are wishing for you to be more of the activated in of the brightness of the shining. And within this, we are understanding that sometimes when you are shining of the brightly, you are hurting other people's of the eyes who are not ready to be of the seeing, who are thinking this is way too of the brightness. You should not be of the brightness. But they are just going based on their of the darkness, and they are thinking that this is not possible for me, and you should not be shining. And this can also aggravate of the darkness within others, in the shadow self of the others. Because in of the light, the shadow self finds it very hard to be of the existing. So sometimes when you are shining, you are highlighting the shadow side of the others, and the others will not be of the happy with this. So therefore, when you are being of the focus of this, you are just beginning to shine of a little brighter and of the little brighter and of the little brighter. And as you are seeing these either of the internal patterns of resistance or the external patterns of resistance, that you just be focused back in of the sacredness of the moment and just allow your light to shine a little bit of the brightness. And just allow this to continue to be shining of the brightness. And even when you are doing of your watering, Miss Lenny, then even just being focused on the brightness, even being focused on the light in that of the moment, and sending that of the light to the water is very much of the enoughness. You don't even need any other of the intention. You don't need any of the other of the thoughts. You don't need any of the other of the motion. If you are just focusing on one of the sacredness of this pinpoint we are talking about, of allowing of your light to be of the shiningness, then everything else will be a meeting of the shiningness. Everything else will begin to be turning of the light. Everything else will begin to be of the shifting. You are understanding this because when you are walking into a dark room, you are turning on the light, and all of a sudden the room is full of the light. So you can be very much like that. You can be just sitting in a darkness of the room and you just start to shine your light, and all of a sudden the room is lit up. And everybody that is existing within of the room, they are start to recognizing, oh wow, this is of the light. We are much happier with the light, not of the dark. So maybe we will turn our light on, and maybe we can now start to be of the shining nature of our sacredness of the truth.
So, in terms of shining our light, I mean, this is a term that we use a lot, but I'd like to hear what you have to say about how do we shine our light?
You are saying, Mr. Lenny, that the very first of the step is to connect with of the light. You see, your of the light is a natural state of the reality scape, and you are being much of the suppressing of the light. You are being of the on purpose to shut down of the light, to dim of the light. And you do have maybe what you are thinking of what of the dimmerness of the switching, where you can actually turn down of your light. And you are doing this very much wellness. You know, many of you are doing this very well. You are very good at of the dimmingness of the light. But we are wishing for you not to be of the dimmingness of the light. So therefore, the firstness of the step is to spend a moment within to connect with of the light. And we are thinking that the best space to be of the finding of the light is in of the Dantian space that we have talked about of many times. And when you are connecting deep within of the Dantian space, often the first place to go to is to feel into what we would be calling of the nothingness. That is to be focused on maybe imagining you are in of the dark room, that you are in of the darkness, and finding your space in of the darkness, and just being in of the nothingness for a moment. And what you will find is when you are in the nothingness for long enough, you will see the light beginning to appear. Because at the heart of every aspect of the reality scape, at the truth of every aspect of the reality scape is light. At the center of your solidness of the system is the light. At the center of your, what you're calling of your Milky Way is light. At the center of everything is of the light. So one of the what you might calling of the exercises is to venture into the nothingness. And this would be like adventuring into a darkness of a cave. And it seems like this is the opposite thing to do, to be finding of your light. We are being much of the understanding this. But you will find in of the darkness, you will find the truthness of your light. If you are sitting there, Miss Eleni, and you are saying, I must find of the light, I must find that switch that Ameed was being of the talking about, I must turn on my light, you will find it very difficult to be turning on of the light. But if you enter into the darkness and enter into the void nature of the elemental system, and you sit in the nothingness for a period of time, what you will find is eventually the light will appear. Now, this is much of the naturalness of your light. This is the naturalness of your reality, and therefore you will be starting to shine the light without any of the effort, without having to seemingly be doing of the anything, because your natural state of being is to be of the light. But to find the truthness of the light, to get to the what you are thinking of, the heart of the light, it is best to enter through the darkness, through the nothingness. And you have been hearing of the saying that at the end of the tunnel is of the lightness. And this is exactly what we are talking about here. If you enter the darkness of the tunnel and you keep moving through the darkness of the tunnel, through the void, what you eventually come to is of the light. And in of that light, you come to the truth of the light. And you will find in that space is a deeper version of the aspect you call of the love nature. And the light and of the love are two sides of the very much of the same thing. Within each photon of the light is an existence of a particle of the love. And you will be finding at some point that there is a particle of the love. Your what you call of the scientists will find that there is a particle of the love, that there is this of the reality. But we are asking you, when you are doing this, you're going to feel like he's doing of the backwardness. And Ameed, you are not making any sense. You want me to go into the darkness to be with the light. And as I go into the darkness, I will shine more of my light. This does not make much of the sense. But we would be asking you to be with this process, that you go into the nothingness. And the nothingness is not of the thinking and not of the feeling and not of the anything. And you can do this by imagining that you are floating in of the space, or that you are in of the darkness of a room, and you can keep going into the darkness, and you can be of the imagining, things are getting much of the darker and the darker and the darker. And you will then see that at the end of that process, the only thing that is then of the existing is the light. So when you go into the darkness, what will begin to appear is a dot of the lightness. And then you are following the dot of the lightness, and you keep following the dot, and it will begin to start getting brighter and of the brighter and of the brighter. And eventually you will find yourself in the most lightness, sparkly whiteness and goldenness and light that you have ever been of the experiencing. And then you will feel a deep level of the love aspect, and you will begin to integrate the particles of the light and the particles of the love. And you'll have a much more, what you are thinking of, the wholeness to this of the experience.
Wow. That's just beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your
This is the
guidance.
journey. This is the journey.
Yeah, this is the journey. This is the journey. Thank you so much,
Much
Ameed.
of the love.
I was,
Much
I
of
was,
the
in a-
joyness.
you put me in a bit of a trance state, so took me a while to get out of it.
But
But
this
yeah,
will take you into this space. And you see, even in of the discussion, and you will be experiencing that even in this stage, you are moving into that place. And it is much like what you are thinking of, the tranceness, that you take yourself into this space and you allow the light to be naturally of the appearance. And when you allow the light to be naturally of the appearance, then the light is much more of the brightness and of the strongness and of the truthness and of the realityness. And there cannot be not of the light. So even as you go in of the darkness, in of the void, in of the nothingness, and you're starting to get of the worried and thinking, this does not make any sense, what you will find is that there is only of the light. There cannot be not of the light. So if you keep following this and keep moving into the darkness and moving into the darkness and into the nothingness and into the void, you will start to see the speck of the light. And as you see the speck of the light, you follow the light and you follow the light, and eventually you will be in the most brightest, most beautiful, most wonderful experience of the light. And that's when you will then connect the light with of the love, and you will experience much of the love. And then you'll be sitting in this of the space, and then what you will be finding is everything that is around you starts to shift to meet of the light. All of the darkness that may be of around you cannot be existing in of the light, in of the truth of the light, in of the reality of the light. Therefore, everything around you starts to shift and starts to be changing. And you might see of the darkness that is around you turning into the grayness, and the grayness turns into the lightness. You will be seeing many of the shifts happening when you are being in of this space, of this reality, of this light.
Wow.
Much
Thank you
love.
so much.
Much joy.
Thank you, Ameed. Thank
Much
you.
love. Oh, oh, oh. Ah. Hello. Wow.
Welcome back.
I'm not sure I'm back yet. Oof. I don't know. Was that big or something? I don't know. Just maybe I didn't want to come back. Maybe I'm happy off on my vacation. I don't know.
Yeah, it
Anyway,
was lovely. It was
yeah,
really nice. Yeah, I love
beautiful.
that.
Yeah,
I love that about seeing the light when you're in the darkness. And there are initiations across the world where people go into a cave for a number of days.
right. Okay.
And I would imagine that that's the reason. That's where they
Yeah.
find the light in the
Mm.
dark.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have, yeah, that could be the way it happens for sure. Yeah.
And just follow the light.
Follow the
Don't
light.
grasp for the light, just sit in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
light will eventually appear and you just follow
It
it.
can't not. It can't not. It always does. And yeah, Mead's talked a lot about void and going, and it's one of the Egyptian elements is the void element. And the Egyptians used to, like you're saying, purposefully go into this space, like people going into a cave, and they realized that all of the beautiful magic and knowledge and wisdom and information exists in that space. Well, that's the gateway to it. It might not exist in darkness per se, but it's actually the access point. And it's kind of interesting because I think it gets most people to run away from or avoid, or maybe we've been coerced into the darkness is bad or don't do that. And whenever something like that happens, I always think to myself, hang on a minute, why are we being discouraged from that thing? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why are we being led to believe that in the darkness bad things exist? Or, do you know what I mean? Like, all of those crazy movies we see, all of the bad stuff happens at night. None of it happens during the day type of thing. And I often wonder, why is that? Because there are quite a few writings in Egyptian hieroglyphs talking about these sort of ceremonies that often happen in darkness, in the blackness. And yeah, so anyway, don't know.
Well, even, some plant medicine ceremonies like
Yeah,
ayahuasca,
yes,
that's through the night.
yeah,
And you really feel when the sun rises, you just feel the difference,
yeah,
the switch in energy. And yeah,
yeah,
it was very hard and painful to be in the darkness,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you needed to face it.
But through that, you came to a whole lot of light. You know what I mean? Like you face whatever darkness and whatever, but at the other end of it, there was light. Do you know what I mean? Like
That's
there was
always
information
right.
and knowledge, and you met whatever you met and whoever you met, and there was always that light appeared.
Yeah, yeah. We can't shy away from the darkness. We need to face it head on
We
because that's
do.
where we'll find the light.
That's where we'll find the light. Yeah.
Beautiful message from Ameed today. And thank you
Yay.
so much for
Oh,
bringing that forward to us, Marcus. It was
my
really,
pleasure.
really, really special transmission.
Yay. Well, that's great. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
I'm glad I could do it. So, yay. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Galactic Guidance. We hope that the messages that you receive from the higher realms have brought you clarity, insight, and comfort. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Remember to stay connected to your own inner guidance and trust the journey ahead.